What's good? It's your boy, Whispy Woods. And, look, basically, I want to start off this Wispy theory with just a clarification on certain things about the bird aspect. You know what? Whoever's touchy out there and got offended by my last video about this fucking bird, understand, if you reacted to a video about haters, okay, that was for haters, then you somehow felt some type of way, then somehow I guess you feel like a hater. If the shoe fits, I never meant to offend the people who they know who they are real hunters. But the people who are judgmental and spam me all day with bullshit ass, comments, even though they're talking about me fucking ranting, I just find it funny. It is what it is. But we're going to start this Wispy theory off with a sighting of one of the peyote options that you can get as Franklin. That is the same option as getting the chicken or rooster, okay, because we already justified it is a rooster, it's not a regular chicken, okay. And I think they're hinting not only toward the PENRIS bird with this hawk, okay, but they're also pointing towards the genus, okay, the genus of these birds. All right, there's a reason why they chose certain birds. You have to understand that. Yes, I do get that the peyote options do cover a wide range of different animals, but who's to say that certain few aren't, once again, symbolism. Okay, so now what we're looking at right now is the PENRIS bird, okay? Now, I want people to understand, and just like all my other videos, clear their mind, alright? Now, there's a few things, key words, that I want to point out here, okay? One, the fact of the matter is that yes, a lot of people got confused when they saw a sniper at the observatory and then saw the PENRIS building. And it's very easy to then put two and two together, okay? But understand that the game does not work like that. And if it was that easy, then we would have discovered something tied to shooting with that fucking sniper or that building, okay? Now, understand it's no different than when people saw the egg shape and then immediately thought, oh, well, there has to be an egg in the game. No one ever said find an egg, okay? You stopped looking after the first guess that you guys made. Okay, that's all that was, and that's all I'm showing you, and that's all a lot of people hated on me for. But the fact of the matter is that I'm just answering people's questions to why. Okay, it does say sniper, but why doesn't it do anything, or why does it not really correlate with a sniper? Well, I'm showing you because we read it and we rearranged the wrong way. Okay, don't get me wrong, you guys. I thought it said sniper too. But the fact of the matter is that it was not meant to be sniper. It was meant to be PENRIS. Okay? Trust me, it's too correlated with not only what I've been talking about, but there are key words, like I said in my previous video. Okay? Da Vinci and philosophers. Okay? One of the greatest philosophers have a big part to do with this mystery. And not only does the Epsilon tract prove this, okay, I'm going to show you, but you need to understand that through understanding philosophers, we understood Da Vinci, and we understood that Da Vinci loved wordplay, okay? It was part of his puzzles, alright? Not only does that correlate, but the fact of the matter is that Da Vinci and the Da Vinci Code correlates with everything that has to do with the Illuminati, okay? Now, aside from those things, in my previous video about the IIA and See the Eye, I fucking already told everyone about the significance of the word buzzard in the game, okay? It's relating to what they are projecting as the point of view and metaphors, okay? Understand, when I'm talking about symbolism, I'm talking about metaphors, okay? And literally, the game tells us to pay attention to metaphors, okay? Seriously. Now, one of the key words, you guys, because like I said, it's word play, alright, is the fact that not only is this species indigenous to Europe, okay, but one of the species is also called the European honey buzzard. Okay, Europe. All right, now I got a really, you guys, I got a fucking 6-page long essay from some asshole named Jay something, and I'm not even gonna give you any more, attention than you deserve, bro. But the fact of the matter is that you were so honest to God fucking wrong with how you came at me, because you feel as though that the hater video was derived towards you when no one said your name specifically. You felt that way because in some way or some part of you feels like a doubter into what I'm saying, or a doubter into the things that I have theorized and or found in the game. Okay, now understand this: when you wrote your 6-page essay about why it doesn't make sense for PENRIS the bird to be in GTA 5 the game, I mean, dude, you're fucking crazy. You're really trying to make me feel like I'm stupid, okay? About the bird not being in the game when you once again thought too fast and didn't listen to the video. I never said the bird itself was in the game. Okay, what I said is that we rearranged the wrong way, and it was to symbolize a bird. Period. Okay, but what is interesting about these birds that they put in as peyote options, there are several interesting things about them that I'm going to show you throughout the video. And honest to God, you can make your fucking decision at the end. Fucking hate it, love it, whatever. I don't care at this point. I want the real jetpack hunters to understand that I'm really looking for the connections and why we're looking for what we're looking for, okay? What is derived towards flying machines and other things that we want, all right? So if you want to go on the wild goose chase, like that's on other sites, then go for it, all right? It is what it is. But the fact of the matter is that PENRIS, the bird, Europe, and buzzard are all correlated, just like I've said in previous videos. And the correlations are what tie them together. There are other correlations, alright, with the birds and the peyote options in the game. And one thing I do want to bring up before I do, show you the other correlations, is that the PENRIS is a genus of birds in the raptor subfamily of Penrinii. Okay? Now, here's my thing about raptor, okay? A raptor is also a dinosaur, okay? And not only is it, well theorized within evolution and science that birds are a huge link between dinosaurs, raptors, and certain birds of prey being linked towards dinosaurs, okay? Understand that, birds of prey. Alright, if you haven't noticed, there are several different things in the game that reference dinosaurs, and we have yet to understand why. And I think you guys think this is one of those many connections toward why they would even bring up a dinosaur. Okay, and realize they're never talking about a specific dinosaur, they just reference dinosaurs. Alright, science, evolution, it's all part of the same thing, alright? They're all correlated, all linked, alright? Like I said, raptors and birds of prey. Okay, and now we're looking at the form for the pigeon, alright? Now, I want you to understand what I mean about this shit. This is part of what I'm talking about, you guys, when I say we as a community are thinking too fucking fast. We see something that we think is what we think, and then we label it. And then there's no other thought process past that. And that's why we're stuck at a dead end going around and around in circles with no new information. And what I'm trying to do is bring more information. Okay? So just like the flying rats, just to show you this has something to do with GTA. One thing I want you to notice is the subtle green around this pigeon's neck. This is the one from GTA 4, you guys. Okay, 4. Now we're going to go backwards, and I want you to look at the GTA 5 version. Okay? It's very faint, but I need you to really pay attention and see the subtle bits of green right there. Okay? And I know what you're probably thinking. Well, no, it's more like purplish brown, if anything. No, look, there's a little bit of green right there. And I'm going to prove to you that not only is this the same fucking pigeon that they've been using, you guys, literally, and that they made a point to fucking use it. And it's for wordplay. This is the first example, okay, of symbolisms, metaphors, and what they've been meaning towards a dove. Do not forget about the dove. The dove is the dove of love, okay, which could be perceived as happiness. That is a theory of mine just for that aspect. But the dove is the dove of love and of truth, okay? That is an old metaphor. Now, once again, we're going to segregate that old metaphor. They mention that the dove is an old metaphor, but they also mention that it is one that unites all knowledge under Epsilonism. Now, if you're wondering why the fuck the dove is ever even relevant, let me show you. And this is the bird you were just looking at. Okay? Same bird that was in GTA 4 and GTA 5. And if you haven't noticed by now, or even thought about it, this motherfucker is called the rock dove. Okay? A dove, you guys. The shit that the cults are talking about is real. Period. And that's 90% of where I've gotten all my information. So before you bash me about not knowing shit about the game or why Sniper makes more sense, understand I got a lot of my information from the shit that's in the game, not just from what I saw in the game and then put my own 2 spins on it. Okay? I'm showing you what the fuck is really tied. There's a reason they kept using the same pigeon. Do you know how many designs of pigeons there are, you guys? Seriously, they kept using the one specifically with green and purple. Remember those colors, because they do have something to do not only with birds, but the cults in general. Okay, and now we're going to look at crows. Okay, look at the crow. This is one of the peyote options. Now, one of the things I want to bring up about the crow is the fact that not only does it have to do with death, which is, you know, not only a universal part of GTA, but part of the Epsilon tract, but there is a folklore of the crow and it having 3 legs, but the 3-legged crow is also tied to a story called the Time of the 10 Sons. So understand that in some form of Chinese folklore, okay, and before you say, what does Chinese have to do with anything, wonder why Trevor had a mission dealing with the Chinese, okay? They just threw Chinese in the game. It's not like we were dealing with, you know, any actual gang or anything like that. We were just dealing with a few Chinese businessmen that he was selling guns to now, and other things. But the fact of the matter is that they wanted you, for some reason, to know that these guys were Chinese. And, you know, again, it may not be significant, but for some reason, it is tied to this bird. That is not necessarily the only thing that is tied to this bird that is significant, but it is also a bird of prey. And like I said, I will show you a little later why birds of prey are even relevant with possibly what not only we're looking for, but the several different symbolisms that tell us how to read certain Easter eggs. Now, one thing I do want to point out before I do show you that is the fact that the crow is actually evolved from a genus that is kind of related to the common raven. Okay, now the common raven, just like the crow, all right, originated in Europe. Okay, now if when you go here to check it out, I want you to pay attention to the fact that for some reason, which a lot of birds do, so, you know, again, I'm not basing the entire of what I'm saying with birds being based on this, but it is correlated, and they want you to understand that these birds are not just random, that they are correlated with certain things, okay? And one of the things is the common raven evolved in the Old World and crossed the Bering Land Bridge into North America. So understand, it originated from Old World, alright? And Old World, you guys, is also known as Afro-Eurasia, alright? 3 places in one, alright? Duality, backwards duality. Now, Europe, again, I feel as though is one of the major things that they're pointing out, and for some fucking reason is tied to these specific birds they chose. Okay, remember Europe. Okay, so far you guys understand we have grasped basis on pigeons, okay, and crows and hawks. Okay, one thing I want to make clear is that there are 2 birds here that, you know, I'm not even going to get into why the rooster is relevant. I've already explained that, okay? We have 2 birds here that not only are related to GTA's past, but they are related possibly to the characters' separate Easter eggs, okay? And I will, in possibly another video later on, show you the specific reasons why I believe pigeons are tied to Michael, okay? But the fact of the matter is that these 2 are not necessarily tied to the other birds. I want you to understand and grasp the format of which they went. Hawks and crows have, and even is the great cormorant. I want you to understand something about this bird. It's not just a bird, okay? I mean, it is, but it was a big part of symbolism, alright? Symbolism on a monument, guys. And before I do show you exactly what monument, I want to point out the fact that this one is from the Old World too. Again, the Old World is not the basis of my point here, but I want you to understand that there are key words that tie these certain things together, the certain birds. Notice how the certain birds that I've named so far that are part of Old World are birds of prey. Okay? This bird right here is a hybrid between a bird of prey and a seabird. And I want you to remember why I'm emphasizing that. Now I'm going to show you the monument. And again, you guys, look at the bird. It's so odd like that they would just add a random bird like that, right? I'm telling you, not only does this have to do with GTA, the fact that GTA is a British company, but also the fact that this bird is representing something that was very monumental within its symbolism, is liver. Alright? Wordplay. Liver. Now, I want you to pay attention to the monument. Aside from the fact that it has a clock in this game, obviously deals with certain aspects of time, but there are 2 twin, you guys, twin symbols of a bird up here. And it was a big part of this bird's history that it was unnamed. They didn't really know what bird it was. That was a part of this crest. Okay? But it wasn't until a while ago that it was actually named as the cormorant. Okay? Think about it. Now, if that doesn't get you, I want you to understand a big part of why it's called the liver building. Okay? And, you know, aside from the fact that it is resided in Liverpool, alright? But a big part of why this whole thing is kind of relevant is that it was called the liver bird, alright? They called the cormorant a liver bird. And a liver bird is a mythical creature, alright? Specific to Liverpool and evolved in the 20th century, alright? And now it's normally represented in the form of a cormorant. Now, I want you to understand, oh yeah, it also says holding a frond in its mouth. And in this whole description, which I read, it does mention, you can read it for yourself, it does mention how they went back and forth from wondering if it was representing an eagle or certain other birds, but it mentions that this in his mouth is a seaweed, you guys, okay? Get the wordplay, alright? This is, like I said, is the hybrid between the bird of prey and the seabirds. Now, I'm going to explain to you why seabirds are part of the correlation with birds. Now we're looking at the last bird option here, you guys. Alright, like I said, I've explained most of them. Now, here's the seagull. Okay? Obvious. It's an obvious seabird. I mean, do I really need to explain it any more than that? It's an obvious seabird. A sea-dwelling bird. Alright, think about it. They fucking breed around lakes and bodies of water. Just like the Epsilon program and how they mention so many lakes, you guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, seriously, if you guys took the time to read this shit, there's so many aspects of why, you know, all these things are correlated, dude. Like, it's all part of wordplay. They wanted you to take the words and create, not necessarily create, but understand the metaphors. Alright? That's all. It's not really based necessarily on anything else but the wordplay. I really want a lot of people to understand what I'm getting at when it comes to certain aspects of this puzzle, because that's all it is. It's not anything else. Okay? Bounteousness, okay, which is the aspect of not just kindness, but giving and certain aspects of giving. They say bounteousness is a mirror. Okay, bounteousness is a mirror in a lake where truth lives. Drink from this lake. Okay, and also water the peach tree, but do not quench the fire that brings the dove. Alright? The dove, you guys. Now, I understand it sounds like a lot of gibberish because you're trying too hard to bring a lot of physicalities to every little word that they're saying, but you need to segregate a lot of the little words and rearrange the keywords, the metaphors. Okay? Now, like I said, I'm going to show you a big possible reason why eggs, why Chris Formage talks about fertility. He talks about twins laying him in the morning. Okay, think about that. Twins laying him in the morning like an egg. And what are one of the most folklorish things in just American history, or even most folklores of history that have to do with understanding fertility and where eggs and babies come from? Okay, so like I said, you guys, the gulls or seagulls are seabirds, alright? You have to understand that they are seabirds. But they are also, okay, one of the key things here, and God help me with this word, they are also cardiforms, alright? Cardiform birds. Think about this, alright? And if you don't know what a cardiform bird is, I'm going to show you what they are and how they relate, alright? They're under the certain class of quadriform birds. Quadriform birds are very interesting, especially when they coincide with the other birds that I've shown you outside of the rooster and the pigeon. Quadriforms together, the seagulls, alright, together with other seabirds, the cormorant and the seagull, okay, and birds of prey into a greatly emerged order of Secaniforms, alright, and I know I butchered that shit, but Secaniforms, alright, for a shorter word, is a stork. And where do you ask your parents where babies come from? The stork. Alright? And before you start thinking, well, this is a little far-fetched, how did all these birds really land on this one bird? There's no fucking way that it just means this one bird. Okay, well, I find it funny that all those birds have that one thing in common, that they conform to make a certain species, okay, that is only derived into storks, alright? Think about it. They are the only family in the order of Secaniforms, okay? Secaniforms are the compiled fucking species of bird that are coniforms and fucking pyrenees and crows and seagulls. The four other birds that had nothing to do with GTA necessarily are correlated with something that has to do with a bird, and a bird that has something to do with fertility, alright, within its whole history. I mean, if you're really trying to be blind to these things that are honestly tying them together for a reason, this is the same game that Chris Formage is talking about being laid, alright, by twins and forming and being formed out of an egg, you guys. Think about it. Think about it. Like, I'm trying to open your fucking minds here, you guys. Because this fucking mystery is deeper than what we ever fucking thought. But it's easy to understand when you stop doubting. The lake in which truth lives is very clean and clear. But not as clean and clear as it is clean and clear that those who have been shown our truth form have questioned. Now, before I go on, I want you to understand. That means this truth, that the lake that they are residing in, alright, that is relevant to the mystery and or water, alright, is tied to a truth that only will be clearer to those who have not questioned. Let me continue. Who have questioned and have doubted and have not understood are themselves not in fact the weak, Alright? I want you to understand, yes, I get it. Okay, you guys, this shit is hard to understand because it's like a Bible. That's what they wanted it to be. Alright? But the unsavables, by even thinking a question, you are likening yourself to the volcano that sucks lava into itself and explodes down, causing the entire paradigm, aka pattern, to implode. Alright? And a mighty race of super beings to be cast adrift into space. Alright? Now, a lot of people can tie that into Scientology and Lord Ginut, if you don't know how aliens were supposedly to drop into a volcano and spread throughout the world into souls of cavemen. And yes, that is what certain Scientologists, I guess, believe. And yes, you can make the correlation between the Epsilon program and Scientology, but what you are not making the correlations is in their wordplay and the game. Okay, like you need to focus on the wordplay. Paradigm meaning the pattern. All right, they're saying that if you doubt by even thinking a question, you are likening yourself to something as impossible. Alright? You're likening yourself to an impossible feat by questioning their word, by questioning the game's word and how they tell you the truth. Okay? You're likening yourself to a volcano that sucks lava into itself and explodes down, alright? Causing the entire paradigm to implode and a mighty race of super beings to be cast adrift into space. Is that them telling you that by questioning, you are casting aside the aliens and the other beings in the game that are possibly real? On Cult manuscript, and it's fully decoded on the wiki, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing, okay? There are a few things I do want to point out that have to do possibly not only with birds, but like I said, these different cults have different symbolisms of certain Easter eggs, but they're all compiled together, so you need to rearrange and segregate, okay? The first one says 1 CN block, or 1 Cayenne block, and it reads, the Industrial Revolution has been a disaster to the stability of the human race. Now, the Industrial Revolution, I don't think it's necessarily talking about the actual Industrial Revolution. It's possibly talking about the industrial district that has been instilled in pretty much every GTA ever since GTA 2. Like I said, GTA 2 was the biggest template that we have to a modern GTA. And in that GTA was one of the first times they introduced an industrial district. Okay? And it was it was actually called the Industrial District in Anywhere City. Okay? So that could be a possible reference, if not somewhat of a tip to get you to look up the industrial aspect of the word and Grand Theft Auto. Okay, like I said, wordplay. Now, in keeping with wordplay, we have block here. I'm not going to get to Cayenne just yet. I want you to pay attention to block, because a lot of people can misconstrue this as, you know, an actual square block, or just, you know, something that we've always known to be a block, something square or a cube, right? But, you know, that's once again thinking too fast. A block can just be a large solid piece of hard material, okay? Especially made out of rock, stone, wood, or typically with a flat surface, okay? A flat surface on each side. Now, really think about that, you guys. I want you to kind of think, all right, why is there a huge flat sacrificial rock at the Ultras camp? It's just sitting there. I mean, we've always known that it had the jetpack man, but I mean, did we ever take into account that the block was what they were talking about? Now, one thing I do want to put into perspective that a lot of people have already kind of theorized, but one of my biggest reasons is I want you guys to understand the game first, okay? So that we're not shooting in the fucking dark thinking, oh, well, it has to be this, so we'll do this, and then just fucking do a bunch of bullshit, and then hope, like, let's know what the fuck we're doing so that we can just do it, okay? That's all I'm trying to do here, alright? Now, I think it's very interesting that not only do they mention the possible reference of the rock, but they also mention a color, alright? Color called cyan or cyan. And there you have cyan, okay? And for some odd reason, it is the same color as the Epsilon blue. And another thing that is kind of odd is that they, not the ultras, but the Epsilon tell you the blue light, okay? Now, a lot of people could have just misconstrued that for just, not if Michael in general, but the Epsilon in general. Now what you're looking at is the rock dove, but notice how the other name that is associated with the rock dove is the blue rock dove, a cyan block. Okay, so now we're looking at Michael in his house, and before I show you this, I want you to know that there is a part of, if not the website, it's part of something that Chris Ramage sends you, where he shows you a red Epsilon symbol, and then he asks you what color it is, and then he tells you that you're wrong, and then he inverts the color from red to blue. Now, I want you to understand that that is significant, you guys, okay? It's no more significant to why they would have inverted colored flowers. I've already proven the significance between karma, you guys, and the flower. Hirakarishta and so on. And they invert the flower, okay? They're all inverted. Okay, understand, inversion is part of making truth into lies and vice versa. Backwards symbolism. And this is the PENRIS egg, okay? Just like the buzzard. Now, I want you to understand the color. And I know what you're thinking already. Well, it's not the same as the others. But the fact of the matter is that that's because you're thinking too physical and you're believing in the lie. They've told you that red is interpreted into lies, just like an apple flies up from a tree. Reverse it. And now you have your truth.